Joining us now on Notre Dame Day is one of the very few four-year starters in Notre Dame football history. He's a Super Bowl champion and the game analyst for the Notre Dame Football Radio Network, and one of our favorite people of all time, and my good friend, Ryan Harris. Welcome back to Notre Dame Day.
Jack, I miss you, man. Congratulations on an incredible career. What a finish, too, for men's basketball for you to be at. But, Jack Nolan, you are a legend. It's an honor to share the screen with you, my friend.
I'm not so sure I'm a legend. I know you are, and I have to believe Notre Dame Day holds a special place in your heart. Talk to us about the impact it had early in your broadcasting career. I know it's one of the first gigs you had.
It really was. Shout out to Jim Smalls and the whole storytelling team. It was the first time I read off of a teleprompter. Sports broadcasting is a lot different, but it's amazing to me how much of my life started at Notre Dame, whether that was my NFL career really starting with the coaches that recruited me to Notre Dame, and then also in my second career in broadcasting, starting at Notre Dame, doing a show with you for the digital post game, but also Notre Dame Day. And more than anything, just to see the talent that we have at Notre Dame across such a broad spectrum, whether it's art, entertainment, mathematics, science, we are really a unique breed, and it's fun to be a part of the Notre Dame family.
I do miss that post-game show. We did it from O'Neill Hall, and I love the way the staff took care of us both during and after the show. It was streamed at NBCSports.com, but you moved on to bigger and better things. But let's go back to your days growing up in Minnesota. Notre Dame fans may recall that MTV reached out to you and profiled your recruiting journey on their network. How did that opportunity come about, and what was that experience like for you? I know you got a lot of attention.
Well, yeah, it was funny because when I got to campus, the guys were like, "Hey, where's that MTV kid?" I'm like, "Oh no, that's me." So I learned right away that just because you don't know somebody doesn't mean they don't know you, and it really put me on the map for my teammates, but also put Notre Dame on the map in a new way. And it was just a fun way to get my journey started at Notre Dame.
Every top school in the country was recruiting you, and I think it surprised many fans that a devout Muslim would choose to attend the University of Notre Dame. Why did you make that decision to become a member of the Fighting Irish?
Well, Jack, Notre Dame was the only school that actually took me to a mosque on my visit. I thought that was tremendous. That let me know right away that Notre Dame was paying attention to me and what was important to me. And, Jack, I became a better Muslim at Notre Dame. During the processions of Easter, you're going to see, hundreds, if not thousands of students, whether it's at the grotto or at services, taking part in their faith. And I knew that I was a part of a faith community at Notre Dame. And just look at the name, Notre Dame, our mother, and I just thought Notre Dame was the best campus at really embodying that and really making me feel welcome, even though I was different. And in that way, I got to experience agape love and built friendships that have lasted me a lifetime and will last me a lifetime across many different faiths.
Now, back in the football field, you helped protect the blind side of one of Notre Dame's all-time great quarterbacks, Brady Quinn. What is your favorite Brady Quinn story from your time playing together?
Well, when he threw me a bad football, Jack. I mean, we're playing Michigan, and we're winning, and we believe we're going to win this game. And it's at Notre Dame Stadium, and we had 97 Wolverine, which was a tackle-eligible throw. And so I faked like I was blocking, and then I turned around, and Brady Quinn threw me the ball. But instead of practice throwing it to me in my bread basket, he threw it to the ground. It was incomplete. And still to this day, I rib Brady Quinn about how he stole my glory out of walk in right into the student section. No one was there. It was my dream to live. But, I mean, also just remembering circling the field as a senior. I mean, Brady Quinn was a consummate leader, still a great friend to me to this day, and one of the many relationships I made on that Notre Dame team that mean the world to me.
Ryan, you, of course, know the Notre Dame football roster better than most. So how does this team reload on the offensive line after losing 4 starters, and we expect all of them to be on NFL rosters next season? Folks are worried. Can you give them some hope?
Well, first, folks were worried last year about linebackers, too. And look at Jeremiah Wusu-Koromoa showed up, and Drew White. I really think he's going to have a great year. But I'm really interested in some of the freshmen that Notre Dame has on that offensive line, especially Blake Fisher. He's a young man I think can make a huge difference. And then seeing what Josh Lugg can do, and also see what James Patterson does after that injury. James Patterson, I thought, was one of the best, if not the best center in the entire college football landscape. He's going to come back. He's going to be hungry. And I really expect that Notre Dame will continue to be O-line U, Jack.
Notre Dame's all-time winningest quarterback is less than 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. You've seen him play every game of his career. Who does Ian Book remind you of in the NFL right now?
You know, Ian Book reminds me, man, that's a great question. He reminds me a lot of a Jimmy Garoppolo, a guy that can make all the throws, who plays his best when he's playing in rhythm, and somebody who can make the big throws and win the big game. And that's something where I can't wait to see where Ian Book goes and see where he continues his career. And I'll tell you, Jack, that's one of the toughest positions, quarterback. And being at Notre Dame, all the starts that Ian had, that's really going to help him be successful moving forward.
Ryan, you're so good on the air, but it's a natural progression for some talented folks from being an athlete to sports broadcasting, and people kind of assume, yeah, well, that makes sense to me. But you've done something that not many athletes ever do. A few weeks ago, you were named Colorado's Sports Broadcaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association, an incredible honor. How did your time at Notre Dame as a student athlete prepare you for this chapter of your life?
Well, first and foremost, I got to meet a man named Jack Nolan, who gave me some great advice and somebody I listen to this day, also Mike Bonner. And it just, Notre Dame prepares you to step in and be great. And I don't believe any other university really does that. And so if I'm going to be a broadcaster, I want to be great at it. And that's what's unique and common about us as Notre Dame alumni. And so for me, what can I do? How can I learn? I mean, I asked you a million questions, Jack. I hope I didn't talk your ear off because I wanted to know how to ask the best questions. You know, I muted televisions because I wanted to practice asking LeBron James questions, because one day I will ask LeBron James questions. And I found myself in situations that I put myself in because Notre Dame taught me to put your best foot forward. And that's one of the reasons, for example, Dirk Nowitzki's last interview in Denver as a Dallas Maverick was with me, because I had kind of pushed and showed my Super Bowl ring in and got into that Dallas Mavericks locker room and started asking them questions before they could stop me. And Dirk Nowitzki said, it's okay, it's okay. So Dirk Nowitzki's last interview was with me, and that's one of the things that I take pride in, is really helping educate and humanize the sport for fans so that we can dig deeper and come together on the sports we love.
Well, Ryan, I am very proud of you, and you were coachable. You listened, and you are now succeeding on a very high level. And folks, I don't think people really think about this, but if you look at both collegiate and professional football and basketball broadcasting, I think there are more Notre Dame graduates and ex-athletes in broadcasting in this country than any other school, which is remarkable. We don't have a broadcast school per se, but Fighting Irish Media is starting to turn out an awful lot of folks who are going on to inform the nation, including my partner tonight, about sports.